Hey guys, how have you guys been? I know I took a little bit longer than usually. I said every once a week, but as you know, I was at the Orlando premiere last week and it was such a great event. Actually, it was a lot of people there, more than what I expected, and it was awesome because we took the whole 2 years off, and it was so nice to see so many other nail artists that was there. But I thought there was gonna be more nails booth there, but there was only very little, but it was still a really huge event. So we had fun over there, and if you guys saw us at the show and came up and take picture, make sure you tag us on Instagram. We love to see them. Well, but I am doing another video tutorial. You know that I said that I was done with Halloween and I'm gonna do fall tutorial. So but I didn't want to make it orange and stuff like that because we've been doing a lot of that as well. So I already made it pink core or whatever, but it's really cute, really simple, and super easy like always. Anyways guys, check it out. Alright guys, I already have the Notpolish XXL square tips on, and we're going to trim off just a little bit more than what I usually do. And I'm just going to trim the top of the nails, right? And we're going to go in how to measure the nails to make sure they're the same size. What I do is I hold, if it's your natural hand, you kind of easier to do this, but cuticle to cuticle, you see how you line the cuticles right next to each other? So the index, line it with the middle finger, and then line with the ring finger. That's how you measure to make sure all the length are the same. And for your pinky, you can just kind of eyeball it, but don't make it super short, I usually just eyeball the pinky. And I don't use the sand and band, like I said from my previous video, to blend in the nail tips to the nail bed. I use my my tornado bit that I usually use to take off powder and stuff like that, or gel polish. I use that to blend it in. It doesn't get as hot as the sand and band when you blend it in the tips to the nail, okay? That's a little tip. And then now we're going to use the sand and band to roughen up all the nails. Make sure nothing is shiny. Any part that is shiny and not rough, we want to roughen it up, or else it can cause lifting. And I forgot to record this part, but as usual, after you're done sanding the nails, we're gonna dust it down. And I like to use a little acetone to wipe down the nail plate to make sure we remove all nail oil. And then we're gonna go in with the XXX Bond primer. Like I said, you can use double primer if you want, but usually only prime about 5 fingers at the time, okay? Because when you do all 10, sometimes the oil in the nail recirculate and it kind of defeats the purpose of your primer. Kind of went through what the colors I will be using. So this is the Pumpkin Spice. I thought I kind of used it a little bit different. It's kind of like a coral-ish pink, and I have something in there. Usually make sure you tap the powder like that towards you, kind of fluff it up and bring it towards you. Don't want to make it all flat in the jar, okay? It's harder to pick up. And again, I'm gonna drag the powder and then put it on. Some color you might see a little bit of the separation, just a tad bit, but as you know, once you started working it into the nail bed, that should usually disappear. So some color has a little bit of a separation like that. But as you can see, slowly I'm working it in, it will eventually disappear. So, okay guys, so now, and again, very lightly, I just kind of lightly tap the nails. Once the powder starts to set a little bit more, that's when I apply a little bit more pressure. And as you want to apply more pressure by using the, more towards the middle of the brush, towards the end of the brush, not the tip, okay? The back end of the brush. It's more sturdy back there, so when you apply more pressure, it will actually work with you better. So when you want to pull the product off the nails with more pressure, don't use the tip of the brush. As you know, the hair at the tip of the brush is more finer, more a little bit thinner, so it doesn't give you that really that sturdiness like the middle of the brush towards the back end towards the handle of the brush. I hope that makes sense. All right, we're gonna again use an X-Acto knife. I usually make sure you clean the X-Acto knife very well. There's nothing on it. Dip it in a little bit monomer. Wait for this to turn matte a little bit, and then we're gonna make our cut. Usually, when I do the center fill of fill the center of the nail with glitter, I usually do my top cut, my middle, bottom cut, and then fill in the glitter later on, right? So I'm just gonna press and then kind of scrape it towards the cuticle. Press and scrape it towards. And again, with this this cutting technique, you don't have to make it super straight or super perfect, because it's a very easy fix if it's not like super straight or whatever. When it's dry, we can just go over with a hand file and just kind of like straighten it out. And then now we're gonna go in with the 153 Touch It Lips. This color is actually one of my favorite colors to work with forever. It's like the perfect kind of brownish nude. It's I think it's the most, I mean, they're all beautiful, but it is quite beautiful. Okay, and then we're gonna hold it right there. Usually when the powder runs a little bit, make sure you hold it in place, okay? And you kind of see like the angle I'm working it with. Anytime I'm doing powder, anytime I'm applying powder, I always hold the finger at a very downward angle, okay? We want to hold it at a downward angle, because that's the first thing that we should learn when we start doing nails. The way to hold the finger it plays a very important role, right? If you hold it like very straight across, like very horizontal, would that be? Yeah, very straight across, it will the product will run onto the side of the nails, right? So when you hold it downward, the product will run towards the tip of the nail. So that's what we want. And same thing, we're gonna make that cut. I really tried my best not to do the Halloween design, but I've been so obsessed with Halloween, so I figure I'm gonna switch to fall. And as you can see, like if the powder is too wet, the cut it's a lot harder, okay? So make sure the powder turn a little bit matte when we make the cut. And then I'm just gonna lightly scrape it off. And if you don't want the just another reminder, the X-Acto knife is actually really sharp, so be really careful when you guys are using it on your clients, right? It does make a clean cut, but if you're not careful, what if you end up cutting your client's finger? So what you do is you can dole out the knife with your hand file, your hand file, just to make sure it's safer to use if you're newer. And usually, here's a little tip, okay? It's very small, but it helps a lot, because this happened to me twice already. Usually, it should not happen at all, because you think I would learn by now not to let this happen for the second time, right? Okay, so we're gonna do an ombre on this one, but notice, look how my ring finger is pressing onto my index finger, and it's ruining my nail right over there. So usually what I do is I like to start with the index finger first, and I should skip the middle finger and go to do the ring finger, so it prevent me from touching the other hand, just like that, right? I don't know if it happens to everybody, but it happens to me quite often, so you think I will remember. But anyways, as you can see, my index finger is already ruined now. I didn't even notice it, so now after we're done, I had to go back and fix it. So for the ombre, I always, especially when working with darker nude color, anytime you're working with darker color ombre, do make it a little bit on the thinner side, because we want to be able to encapsulate the nail. Because anytime you're working with darker color, it's very easy for you to ruin the nails when you file it if you're not careful. Like, you ruin the ombre transition, okay? So I mean, if you're working with very light color, it's more forgiving. If you when you file and it kind of mess with the transition in a little bit, the ombre transition a little bit, you won't be able to tell. But when it's a darker color, one smidge mess up, the transition will look like a harsh line across. So when working with any nude that's a little bit on the darker side, make sure you give enough room. Make sure your nails are thin enough so you can encapsulate it with crystal clear. Okay, so brush it all the way down. And anytime I'm doing ombre, I always use 2 bead. Okay, the first bead, make it a little bit runny. Always when working ombre, when doing ombre, the second the nude that you ombre it down to a color, make sure that nude is a little bit runnier than what you usually do. When it's a little bit runnier, when you drag it down, it gives it more of that flawless transition like effect, you know. But when it's really more on the drier side, when you go to drag it down, sometimes it dry midway, and it makes your ombre look like very kind of harsh. Does that make sense? And then and now guess what, I messed it up, so I have to move all my powder out of the way and then go in with my tornado bit and then to kind of thinning out this spot and then apply on the powder again to fix it. So make sure you be very careful, okay, or else it actually wastes a lot of more time than what we need to be spending it on. Okay, now I'm gonna clean that up and then apply the same nude on once again. Guess what, guys? I think I am due for more of a regular YouTube tutorial like I always promise. One would be just straight ombre with the classic number 101 and 102. It's a new Panther. I'm gonna do one straight classic ombre, and then another video of just simple dipping, the correct way of doing dipping powder. I get a lot of those questions. I mean, the ombre, I think I would do more like not focusing so much on the ombre because we do a lot of ombre, but focusing on the powder to liquid ratio. I think that should be my next video, powder to liquid ratio of a very simple ombre nail, and I think that would be super cute. And you guys probably know that I like to freestyle my deep French, but I'm gonna do a little cheat today. I'm gonna use a deep French cutter on this finger right here. So when you're using a deep French cutter, make sure, I would prefer you pick up the product a little bit more thicker, on the thicker side, okay? So pick up your bead a little bit on the larger, bigger bead. Yes, bigger bead. And then we're gonna make this cut, okay? So I'm gonna pull it, usually just work in the product and then pull it down to wherever you want, however long you want the deep French, make it a little bit longer, okay? So don't just go right there and be like, oh, that's a good size, and then when you make your cut, it's actually gonna be shorter. So go a little bit longer than what you usually think, just so we have room to, in case we mess up, and then we have room to kind of file it off, right? So with this deep French cutter, usually you would go in like, I'm gonna flip it around like how that I flip it around, but usually you go in like this, right? No, I'm gonna flip it. You see, that's the way that most people will go in, but I'm actually gonna flip it around. This is a little trick I learned recently with one of my classmates. So I'm gonna flip it around, and I feel like this way the cut is actually easier to make. So instead of going in like the traditional way, I flip it around like that. So I learned that from I had a class recently in San Diego, right, with Tim, Nails by Tim, and I usually just go the other way, and I'm like, you know what, let me try his way, and by flipping around, I feel like it gives it more of a sharper cut and easier cut. So, I mean, maybe for me, but I think it will be for you as well. This color is one of my favorite colors. This is the OMG Glitter 48. OMG number 48. It's like a very pinkish coral, very iridescent, okay? And with the OMG glitter, we make sure that we only want to do a thin coat, because we always have to encapsulate the OMG glitter because it does come in chunky glitter. You don't always have to, but I prefer that we do. It's It's better that way, so when you're filing, you don't have big chunk of glitter flying at you, and then sometime when your drill hit it, guess what, a big chunk of glitter might come flying off, and now you have a dent in your nails. Okay, so always encapsulate chunky glitter with crystal clear powder. And I bought these leaves on Amazon. Search for fall leaves on Amazon, and then you'll find it. It's super cute, and it's this is like a pinkish, as you can see, kind of blending with the glitter a little bit. Just give it a little bit of a little razzle dazzle. Okay, guys, so now we're gonna go in and straighten it out just a little bit. If you feel like it's not straight, just go in with the hand file and straighten everything out before we go in with the glitter color. Okay, we're gonna dust it off first, and then now remove that part, and then we're gonna go in with the glitter color. Make sure we don't overlap the glitter on top of the nude, okay, because we're gonna have to encapsulate this later as well. So just keep it nice and thin. But okay, so this is when we do like a deep French of glitter, so we want the glitter to be really thick towards right against that nude to give that, to kind of emphasize on that deep French. So we want it kind of thicker and more vibrant against that nude. You see that? And then because I'm doing ombre, so the glitter will fade to more of a lighter glitter towards the clear tip of the nail. So I kind of make it a little bit thick against that nude, so it kind of show off that like curve, that smile curve, that deep smile curve. By the way, the deep French cutter is available on Notpolish.com as well. Everything I use is available on Notpolish. If it's not, I will usually tell you where I bought it from. So the deep French cutter is on Notpolish. And oh yeah, guess what? We're gonna have a Halloween birthday party this weekend for Millie's first birthday. She is born on November 1st, but November 1st is on a Monday. So I figure, like, you know what, parties, we gotta do it on a Saturday. So Saturday is the 30th, the 31st Halloween. So I was like, you know what, we're gonna make it a Halloween birthday party. So everybody's gonna come dressing up. It's gonna be so cute. And of course I decided this all the week, like a week and a half before the party. So I went online, and guess what, every costume I look, it's kind of sold out. I did not know that people bought the costume like a month to 2 months in advance. And here I am trying to buy my costume a week and a half before. I couldn't find anything, and I had to pay so much for shipping. And when I did find something, it's not even like something that I want. It's like something like, okay, I just have to settle at this point because I have no other option. I cannot be the one that's throwing a party and the one that show up with no damn costume. So I can't believe I waited till very, very last minute. Note to self, next year, plan your Halloween costume 3 months in advance, just so you can get what you want, just so you guys know. I don't know if you guys, anybody having the same issue as me, not being able to find, I can't even find a Halloween. I'm so sad. I wanted to match her for Halloween, but it's just, nothing was cute. So she's just gonna have to be her own little thing, and I'll do my own thing. But can you guys believe it's here? It's here already. It's her first birthday. Where has the time gone? She was just born yesterday. Wow, it's pretty insane. I think having a baby is like the best thing, but it is a lot of work. I haven't had a full night of sleep in a year. I don't know when that's gonna change, but it's crazy how your body just kind of like, it's kind of like your body is just adapt to it. Like, it's like me, it's like, I don't even know who I am. Like, who are you? Like, how did this happen? How am I going to sleep like super early? Well, my early is like 10:30, 11, and waking up like at 6:30. That's never used to be me, but I'm like a changed woman when you become a mom. But it is fun. She is the best baby ever. So easygoing. She does not cry. She gives us the best time. Very, very good baby. And there's nothing better. And guys, remember, we're encapsulating, so make sure it's kind of thin, okay? Encapsulate. Anyways, I was surprised how many people I saw in Orlando premiere that actually watched my YouTube video. It's so cool. I'm like, they're like, oh my god, I watch you. I follow you. And I'm like, from where? Usually I'm like, maybe Instagram or whatever, because my YouTube, I'm not very that popular. So I'm like, where? They're like, YouTube. I'm like, what? YouTube? I love to hear that. That means my YouTube video is actually making its way out there. I know my audience is not that big compared to a lot of people. I'm very tiny, very small. But just to know that there are people from other states and even like other countries that actually watch my videos, that's pretty impressive. It really pushed me to actually go back home and create more content and drop more videos, because I am doing something right by this. It's pretty cool. And for some reason, I don't know why I did not record the part that I encapsulate these 2 nails already. So I'm going to go ahead and redo the process so it doesn't get confusing for anybody, okay? So we're going to go in and encapsulate these nails with crystal clear powder. So I'm just going to do a thin layer because I already encapsulated, but I'm just going to repeat the step so it doesn't confuse other people that think that I didn't encapsulate it at all. So I'm just gonna go in and redo it, because sometimes you hit the record button and it does not record. I don't know why, but it happens. And we like to go in and pre-shape the nails with the Notpolish 5-in-1 cross bit. And I'm just gonna pre-shape the nails now. Has anyone I don't know why this has anyone ever tried my method of pre-shaping the nails with your drill bit? Or has you guys tried it? How do you like it? Does it work out for you like it works for me? I mean, sometimes a certain technique works well with others, but some people don't actually like it. So let me know if you guys actually incorporated this technique in your everyday work, or have you not tried it yet? And maybe if you tried it, did it work? Let me know in the comments down below. And once we're done with that, we're gonna go in and hand file and make sure, okay guys, I see a lot of nail shape that is very taper at the tip of the nails, but right where the nail bed is super wide and bulky. We cannot have super wide up top and super skinny down the bottom, okay? We want it to be very taper from the top all the way down to the bottom. That way your shape looks a lot more cleaner and a lot more taper. If you don't focus on the shaping right around the nail bed and just the tip, your nails will end up looking bulky. Yeah, so we want to taper from all the way from the top all the way down. And usually shaping, you know, it just takes a little bit more work. I don't like the shaping part. I think the shaping really is not my favorite thing to do. That's probably why I do all my shaping with my drill bit, because I feel like it takes a little bit longer. But you know, artwork takes time, so do not rush the process. Sometimes we got to put in that work. So, but you know, with the drill bit filing, it really helps me to cut down the hand shaping for me. And then of course now we're gonna go in and buff really nice and smooth for the nails. And once it's done, I'm gonna use a matte top coat and apply on all the nails that I'm gonna do the nail art on. Okay, remember this little trick that we do apply a thin layer of matte top coat on the nails, so when we paint on our design, for first thing first is the line will come out a lot more straighter, and your polish doesn't actually bleed into the you know how when you buff the nails, you file the nails, there's tiny little lines that we cannot see where the polish actually will bleed into this tiny hairline, even smaller than a hairline lines. So the matte top coat will help that from happening, so when we draw on our artwork, it'll be super smooth. I'm using a gel liner art right now, and the gel liner art, I use it for everything, and with 12 colors you actually can create any colors you want. I'm adding the pink and the orange together with a little bit of white, and I mix it together. I'm gonna get this like nice pinkish coral to match with my powder and my glitter. You see how I just added 3 colors together and create a different color, and if it's still kind of dark, just by adding a little bit more white gel and mix it together, and now you have a different color. So do have fun with mixing gel colors together and create something different. You're not stuck with just one color. Okay, look how beautiful this color is, and this is like that perfect light coral that I just created. So what I'm doing now, I'm just creating 2, so matte top coat on, done. I'm creating 2 lines, one line down, one line. This is the easier way, and disconnect it. So this is the easier way of doing it right here. One line here, one line lower, and then I'm gonna connect it right across. You see that? Super easy, super fast. One line down, one line lower, and then we cross it, and outside we're gonna add on our little stripe. So this is like a sweater nails. It doesn't have to be sweater nails. You can create any design you want, and with this technique, it will give you that like 2Ds. I wouldn't say 3D. 2Ds effect. So what? Do not cure the gel. Okay, we're gonna sprinkle the same color powder that we use on the bottom on top of this wet gel. Okay, we're gonna wait for a second. You're gonna see the gel kind of raise up again, so you're gonna pour the glitter on the powder on top of it one more time. Usually I do 2 layers. Okay, and I'm just gonna wait, because sometimes when the gel is still wet and you go ahead and cure it, sometimes it doesn't give you that like really nice matte sweater texture finish. Okay, so make sure when you pour on the the powder, make sure you wait to see if any gel is raised into the top again. If it does, make sure you pour the powder on top of it again, just to dry it and soak it all up. Okay, and of course the flames, I do a lot of this flame tutorial already, so I'm just gonna quickly go over it. I always start in the center when I do the flames. You guys can go back and check it out, like how I just do the center first, and then I paint out the 2 sides of the flames. That's the easiest way to do it, and the most efficient way to keep your flames very center. And I'm gonna leave the gel wet, and I'm gonna sprinkle the white glitter on top of it. And you know I love this white glitter. It can go over any color and gives it that like really nice texture. So once that's done, we're gonna cure the nails for 30 seconds before we dust it off. Okay, make sure you cure it, because you don't cure it, it's not dry, and you dust it off, what happened is you're gonna ruin the design. So make sure you cure it under the light for at least 30 seconds, and when you dust it off, it's gonna look like this. You see how beautiful that is? And then for the other nails, I'm just gonna go in with the glossed top coat on top of my glitter. Look how beautiful this glitter is. You see how I give it, look at that, look how beautiful. Always add the glossed top coat on the bottom of the clear nails. When you do that, it actually makes the nails a lot more clearer, more see-through. So do add do add a little bit of clear on the bottom, okay? And make sure we clean off the edges before we cure them to keep the shape of the nails. And now this is the finished product. Of course, I skipped the rhinestone because you guys probably do rhinestone very well already. So we're gonna go in with the Notpolish cuticle oil, and then add a little oil to get rid of all the dust and stuff. But this is the finished product, guys. The only difference is we're gonna skip the rhinestone. I think I'm gonna skip a lot of rhinestone works on my video tutorial for now. But I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.